It's that time of year again for a solo bomb, which means I have no treat in the studio today except for myself. Now, once a year I will do a solo bomb unless you guys demand that I do more, because I am willing to do more. I don't really like talking to myself, though. I'm looking at the camera as if I'm having a conversation with somebody, and quite frankly, it's a little bit annoying. Why? I'd prefer a real conversation. I prefer a guest to go back and forth with, listen to what they're saying, interrupt them. Cause you guys get a little bit pissed off sometimes. But guess what? It's because I have a question based on what they just said. And if I write it down or wait for later, it just doesn't hold the same freaking context. So I like to stop people and ask my question because it's popped into my head right when it pops into my head instead of waiting down the road. But there's nobody to interrupt today because this is all just me. Now, I don't even know why I need to look at the camera, because it's also a video. That's why. If you guys are not aware, all of my episodes are on YouTube. You can find my YouTube channel at bradley.tv. I would really appreciate all of you going and subscribing. Number one, I want to see how many of you there actually are. I see where we get hundreds of thousands of downloads per episode, and I want to see if I have any influence over you whatsoever. You like anything that you're hearing, you're a loyal subscriber, do me a favor. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, even if you don't want to see the video. But if you are on the YouTube channel, well, then go to the podcast service that you use and subscribe there. Leave me a 5-star rating or whatever rating that you think I deserve. Leave ratings, because ratings drive me up the lists. So bradley.tv, that's how you subscribe to my YouTube channel, where all episodes with guests and solo bombs go. And plus there's more there, sales, business, and life. So it's worth doing. So what is my solo bomb about? Well, I'm thinking since it's almost 2023, in fact, you're probably listening to this a couple days before New Year's Eve, I want to talk about how do you get anything you want? How can you make sure that 2023 is used effectively, where you actually can get anything you want? I've got 4 simple steps, maybe 5. And literally I've used it to come up, 10 levels, and it works every single time without fail. And I want to share it with you so you too can get what you need and get what you want out of life. Now, the reason I do that is because my mission is to get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it, because I think the reason people fail is because they don't have the right information. So if I can just pair the people with the information with the people that need the information, well, then everyone's going to be more successful, and we're going to live in a more successful world. So fortunately, I'm one of those people with said knowledge, so I'm going to share this with you. How do you get anything you want in 2023? Folks, this may not be a long episode because this doesn't take a long time to describe. It doesn't take a long time for you to understand. But it's very important, and I need you to pay attention. If you're driving in your car, if you're walking on your treadmill, listen up. Turn the volume up a little bit. Take notes if you have to, but pay attention, because I'm telling you right now, this is how somebody would get pretty much anything they want in life, especially in 2023, but it may take a little longer depending on what you want. I mean, guys, shit doesn't happen overnight. A lot of people say, what's the best way to get rich? Well, I say quickly, but sometimes 10 years is quick. So I wouldn't expect to get rich overnight, although it is possible. Everything's possible. This formula is going to simply tell you how to get what you want. So let's use 2023, because I think within 1 year, you could pretty much get whatever you want. Just depends on how big your thinking is. But first thing we do, number 1, how you get anything you want. Well, first thing you have to do is figure out what it is. Okay. I always start out my show, what it is. Folks, there is much difficulty trying to figure out what people actually want. So if you were to ask somebody, matter of fact, go try me. Go ask 5 people that you know when you run into them. Just ask them, look them in the face and say, hey, let me ask you a question. What do you want out of life? And you'll see them go, what do you mean? I mean, it's like they're not going to be able to answer you very easily because they haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. They haven't focused on it. And when you don't focus on stuff and you don't think about stuff, it tends to evade you, or elude you, I should say. So the first step in getting what you want is figuring out exactly what it is. And it sounds easier than it is. You got to sit down and take some time and really think. What do you want? Are you wanting something because someone else wants that for you? Are you wanting something because you actually want it? So you really, got to, empty the room, shut the door, turn the lights down low if you need to, but really look inward and focus, and don't allow outside influence. Ask yourself. You have a voice in your head. You've always had a voice in your head. Listen to that voice and ask yourself, what do you want? Sometimes it's not all about money. Sometimes it's not all about relationships. Sometimes it's not all about health. Sometimes it's not all about, what most people think it should be. But your inner voice, your you, will actually tell you what you want if you ask and you listen, and or you ask enough, because most people don't even ask at all. And then some don't ask enough. So it's not something that you do in 5 seconds. Hey, what do I want out of life? I want to be rich. Okay. Again, you have to get a little bit more specific. What do you mean by rich? How much is rich? What does rich look like? Can you describe rich? Do you know exactly what it is you want? Because most people do not. And I would bet that you don't either. You can be general. I want to be rich. I want to be healthy. I want to be good looking. I want to have a great family. Blah, 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 blah. The basics. Those are general. You got to get specific. If you really, 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 really want something, you got to get specific, detailed, exact. And what that does is it requires you to focus on what you want and really think about what you want. And a lot of people get nervous because they think once they decide it has to be that way. That's not true. You are more than welcome to change your mind as you go. So you pick what you want. Step 1, just figure out what it is that you want. Now, step 2 is you figure out how to get it. So you figure out what you want. Now you figure out, how do I get it? Well, a lot of people think this is the hard part. Well, this is the most easiest step, is figuring out how to get it. Whatever it is you decide you want, now you got to say, okay, well, how do I get that? Well, all you have to do to figure out how to get it is find someone who already did. Find people who already got what it is you're looking to get, or they have what you're looking to have, or they are what you're looking to be. You just simply find someone who's already achieved what it is you're looking to achieve. Folks, if I would have had a mentor and someone show me the way, it wouldn't have took me as long as it took me to succeed. Believe it or not, I had to learn everything the hard way, which, by the way, that's why I wrote my book, Lessons I've Learned the Hard Way So You Don't Have to. And coincidentally, we've sold 18, 20,000 copies so far, and I'm getting rave reviews on the book because, number one, it's not ghost written. I wrote it entirely myself in my own words. But what is the book? It's just a series of stories that I lived through that taught me certain lessons, but it took me a long time and a lot of money and a lot of pain and a lot of aggravation, a couple of divorces, et cetera, to learn all these things. And what's crazy is you're going to learn all these things as well. Right? The question is how much are you going to spend to learn them? How much damage are you going to take to learn the same things? Because again, these are universal laws. These are lessons I learned the hard way, and I put them in a book so you don't have to. Anybody kind of young reads the book, they'll be like, damn, this is hugely valuable. If you're a little bit older, like myself, you could read the book and learn some things, or you could read the book and get reminded of some things. But I can guarantee you this. Whether you read the book or not, you're going to learn the lessons that are in that book. You're just going to learn them the hard way. And if you want to learn them the quick way, the best way, through somebody else taking the damage, well, then go get my book. You can find it on Amazon. You could probably get it at bradlee.com too. Anyway, you figure out what it is that you want. Then you figure out how to get it simply by identifying who's already got it and asking them exactly what they've done, or study somebody. You can literally model what someone else did, and 9 times out of 10, believe it or not, folks, you'll get what someone else got. Oh, it can't be that simple, Brad. It is that simple, folks. It's called like action causes like result. There are so many people out there that want to complicate everything, and they want to doubt everything, and they want to just have this, limited scarcity mindset about everything. It can't be that easy. It can be that easy, folks. If you want to go get a 6-pack of abs, okay, or a 6-pack, you Google, how do I get a 6-pack? You will see 50 million responses in 5 seconds, and most of them are exactly how you get a six-pack. There's a lot of people out there with a six-pack that will tell you exactly what they did to get a six-pack. There's people out there that have built businesses that will tell you exactly what they've done to build the business. There's people out there that have succeeded already in more than likely what you're looking to do, and they are willing to explain to you exactly what they did. Now, if you find someone and they're not willing to do that, you just keep looking, because I highly doubt there's only one person in the world that's ever achieved what you're attempting to achieve. And by the way, if that's the case, you're one of those big, big dreamers and you want to do something nobody's ever done in the past, well, then this formula is not going to work for you. This formula is what I use. And I'm telling you, when I figure out what it is I want, then I figure out who's already done what I'm looking to do. And then I approach those people. I might have to go through 4 or 5 of them before I get to one that will actually tell me. And by the way, there's books you can read. They don't have to tell you directly. Okay. There's books that you can read. There's biographies you can read. There's coaching you can get. There's consulting you can hire. But the point is somebody's probably already achieved what it is you're looking for. Whatever you just identified as something you want, there's probably someone who's already got that. So you approach those people and you figure out what they did. How did they do it? And you shut your mouth and you pay attention and you listen closely and you ask good questions and you take notes, and they will tell you exactly what they did in order to get what it is they got, which happens to be exactly what you want. Like action causes like result. It's that simple. Now, step 3, this is where most people crash. Step 3 is do the work. See, that's the one that derails most people. Why? Well, because guess what? The work sometimes is uncomfortable. You know, the work sometimes is what breaks people. But I think it's the main reason it breaks people is because they don't actually want what they claim they wanted, which if that's the case, they need to go back to step 1 and think some more. Because think about it. If you really want what it is you want, okay, you really want it, a little bit of work or a lot of work is not going to stop you. If you really, truly want what it is you wrote down and what you thought about and what you spent time focusing on, and you've decided 100%, this is what I want. I have certainty. This is what I want. A little bit of work is not going to stop you. A little bit of money is not going to stop you. A little bit of challenge is not going to stop you. Nothing is going to stop you if you've made the decision that this is what I want. This is how I get it. And all I have to do is this work. So anytime you get to the point where you're supposed to do the work and you're just not doing the work, it's because you technically don't want what it is you think you do, which requires you just to go sit back down in some solitude and figure out what is it that you do want. And you'll know what it is when you actually are willing to do the work. If you're one of those people that don't like to do the work and you are refusing to be uncomfortable, I can promise you, you're more than likely not going to get what you want in life, and you're going to live an average, mediocre existence until you die. Now, Brad, that sounds a little bit dramatic. No, that sounds a little bit realistic. Folks, if you want to be comfortable, you have to be uncomfortable. I'm not the only one that says this shit. I'm not the only person on earth telling you the truth. There's a lot of people out there telling people the truth. It's just a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They're not interested in the truth. Why? Because the truth is uncomfortable. They want to hear some, nonsense. They want to hear some things that makes it sound peachy and keen. Well, guess what? It can be peachy and keen. When people ask me, is life difficult? I say, no, life isn't difficult. Life is actually easy. People say, oh, no one will tell you life is easy. Life is hard. Life is what you make it. Okay? Life is what you make it. Keep forgetting my own damn bombs on myself. Life is what you make it, folks. Happiness isn't something that you earn. Happiness isn't something that you find. Happiness isn't something that you chase. Happiness is something that you choose. Okay? You choose to be happy. You can be in a bad situation and choose to be happy. You can be in a great situation and choose to be upset, choose to be miserable, even though you're in a great situation. In fact, if everybody in the, world threw their problems out in the middle of the room and you started to see what everyone else's problems look like compared to yours, you'd be running to get yours back. At the end of the day, man, you get to choose whether or not you're happy. It's all perspective. If you can literally shift your perspective to one of gratitude, extreme gratitude, man, instantly life gets better. The whole world lights up as soon as you start to pay attention and shift your focus to optimism, to gratitude. Like when I wake up in the morning, I realize waking up in the morning is worth more than millions of dollars to me. I would rather wake up tomorrow morning than get $5 million handed to me, or 10 million for that matter, even 100 million for that matter, which means that I value waking up and getting it to live another day more than any amount of money there is, right? I don't want any amount of money to not wake up tomorrow. That's why I wake up with that kind of gratitude, because I realize that this is worth more to me. Just waking up, opening my eyes, seeing that I get one more day, it's worth more to me than any amount of money there is. Now, if you can shift your mindset, just shift your perspective to understand the second you wake up, it's a good day no matter what happens. You don't need glitter shooting out of a unicorn's ass for it to be a good day. All you need is to wake up and it's a good day. The question is how good will it get? I tell people all the time, there's no such thing as a bad day as long as you woke up. Okay, that's a good day no matter what. So shift that perspective and get that behind you. But back to the procedure or the, let's say, framework of how to get anything you want. Once you figure out what it is, once you've discovered how to get it, now you need to do the work. The work is the hard part. The work is the monotonous, the grind, the aggravation, the discomfort. Finding out what you want is pretty, believe it or not, nerve-wracking. You got to spend a lot of time, a lot of thought, and you go back and forth. You're going to be vacillating between this, between that. And, a lot of people say, well, Brad, what should I think about? Listen, in my mind, you should be thinking about your goals in health, your goals in relationships, and your goals in finances. So health, relationships, and money. Everything kind of falls into that. Other than, your spirituality, people say, what about God? Well, technically that's a relationship, so it still falls in the same category. But I would be focused on your health, your relationships, and your finances. And I would at least focus on those three things for 2023. What do you want health-wise for 2023? What do you want relationship-wise in 2023? What do you want in financial regards in 2023? Now, again, once you figure out exactly what that looks like, exactly what that is, specifically, folks, not just randomly, not just generally, but specifically in each of those categories, I will show you exactly how to get every single one of them. Step one, you just did, figured out what it is. Step two, now identify. And by the way, it might take some time. I didn't say this is going to happen overnight. And if I say, well, it didn't work in 2023, why? Because I didn't get to this point. Well, then just keep going and you will get there eventually. I'm hoping 2023 because guess what? That's a year, man. You can do a lot in a year. You can actually do more than you think you can in a year. Just like if people would stop eating shit and working out for 3 months, they would be amazed what 3 months, just 3 months can do. 90 days can literally transform your body. And what's crazy is that's not even very long. Like I've been drunk longer than that, it seems. So what do you want for your health? What do you want for your relationships? Who do you want to hang around? What do you want to tolerate? What kind of, marriage do you have? Do you want a better marriage? You know what I'm saying? You want to hang around better people? Do you want to hang around different people? And think about that, folks, because a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean? Guys, what you are is literally related to who you hang around. If you hang around a bunch of losers, you're not going to be a winner that hangs around losers. I've never met anyone that hangs around a bunch of losers nonstop that's a winner. I've never met one successful person that has all unsuccessful people around them. Okay. Usually it's the opposite. If I meet successful people, they're hanging around successful people. Or do you hang around, high school buddies and that drag you down, or family that drags you down? Now people say, Brad, are you trying to tell us not to hang around our families? No, I'm not trying to tell you to not hang around your family. Unless, of course, your family is holding you back. Because just because you're related by blood doesn't make you family. Someone that's truly your family wants you to succeed. They want you to evolve. They want you to grow. They want you to win. They're happy for you. They encourage it. So look around and see who your friends are. See who your relationships are with. And then set some goals, set some objectives for 2023 to clean that shit up. There are people that do not need to be around you. Get rid of them. Make a commitment to chop them out of your life. Folks, everybody's not going to be able to grow all the way to the top with you. If they are, great. They will adapt. They will change. They will develop. They will grow to meet you where you're going. Okay? But don't be afraid to cut somebody out. Otherwise, man, you might as well just sit there for the rest of your life. Like a crab trying to get out of a bucket of crabs. They pull you back down because they're all trying to get out and they're, grabbing your leg because you're the one climbing. Don't allow it. Pay attention. Find, nurture, and attract great relationships. Relationships is where money comes from. All the revenue you've ever received, all the money you've ever received came from a relationship of some kind. That's why I continue to tell people, you want to make money? You want to make more money? Create more relationships. That's where it comes from. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. It's pretty simple. Now, doing the work is step 3. That's where it crashes for most people. You got to do the work. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you bite the bullet, you grit your teeth, and you frickin' get the job done. You stop whining. You stop complaining. You start being grateful and thankful that you're able to do the work. Be thankful that you know what work to do. There's people out there, they don't know what work to do. They're willing to work, but they don't know what to do. That's why you see people in construction busting their asses all day for 50, 60, 70 grand, hauling sacks of cement, holding signs on the side of the road. Okay. The hardest working individuals out there are usually the ones that don't make the most money. Why? Well, because the ones with the money are paying them to do all the hard labor work. Because the ones with the money don't want to do that bullshit anymore, so they just hire somebody else that hasn't figured it out. Well, guys, I'm trying to tell you how to figure it out. You figure out what you want. You find someone who already did it and to ask them how they did it, and you write that shit down, and then you do the work. And I don't care if it takes you 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12 years. It took me 8 years to get my first business off the ground. Well, I mean, considerably off the ground. 8 years. Most people wouldn't last that long. Why? Well, because they're expecting it overnight. I didn't care, man. I figured out what I wanted. I knew what I wanted specifically, and I just kept going. And what was crazy is it seemed like it happened overnight, even though it took 8 years. Every 90 days, I was thinking, man, I'm only 90 days away, 90 days away. And then eventually, dude, people are like, hey, dude, you're a millionaire. And I'm like, oh, shit, I guess I am. So trust me when I tell you, doing the work is where most people will crash. That's where you will crash more than likely. Do not allow yourself to give up. Be willing to put in the work. That's my best advice. You have to raise your self-worth to raise your net worth. You have to believe that you are worth it. And remember, when it's tough, are you worth it or not? Is your family worth it or not? When it gets tough, when it gets aggravating, when most people will quit and you don't, it's because you are focusing on the reason you're doing it. Because you've decided you want what it is that's coming or that will result from this hard work. Just like if I took your family away from you and I threatened to kill them all. And I said, listen, you go work in this freaking coal mine, slamming rocks with a sledgehammer for 6 years, or I'm killing them all. Folks, if you love this family and you didn't want them to die, I guarantee you that 6 years would go by, number one, very quickly. Number two, it wouldn't bother you even if it was excruciating. Because you want the result. And you knew that if you do that, they live. Well, guess what? You wouldn't have a problem. You wouldn't quit. You wouldn't second guess yourself. You would go to work every day, happy as hell, focusing on the day that your family is safe and you guys are back together. Now that sounds extreme, but guess what, guys? So is losing what it is that you could have. The potential that people have is amazing. It blows my mind how many people have potential and they don't know how to actually use the potential or grow into the potential and achieve what it is they want. You want the fine cars, you want the nice houses, you want all the freaking finer things in life. You can have them, but you got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable. You got to be willing to do what most people aren't willing to do. It's that simple. You do the work. Now, what's step 4? Step 4 is make adjustments. Pay attention to the marketplace. Listen to what people are saying. You might be heading down a particular direction that's wrong. And if you continue to head down that direction and you don't give up and you just continue to head down the same direction that's wrong, you're going to end up way wrong. You're going to end up way far away from where you were headed. So pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the feedback. Solicit feedback. Listen. Pay attention, man. Watch what's going on. Listen to what people are saying. You're putting in the work. You're doing everything right. Why is it not working? Okay? That's where you can also reach out. Get a mentor, get a coach, get a consultant. Folks, if I could do things over, I would have got a coach and a consultant. There's only 3 things that you have to focus on: your mindset, your skill set, and your habits. If you literally understand one thing, everything else becomes clear. Where you are in life, 100% is responsible. Or I said that backwards. What is responsible for where you are in life? Your mindset, your skill set, and your habits. The reason you are where you are is your mindset, your skill set, and your habits. Good or bad, if you're in a shitty place, your mindset, your skill set, and your habits are why you're in that shitty place. If you're in an unbelievable place, mindset, skill set, and habits. And people say, well, no, what if my grandpa left me $1 billion? Listen, folks, I'm not talking about the exceptions. I'm not talking about the crazy shit. I'm talking about how can everyday normal people win? You can sit there and try and figure out how this doesn't make any sense. You can sit there and try and argue everything I'm telling you. Or you can blindly believe what I'm telling you. Go out and try it and see for yourself and see what happens to you. I don't think people understand, man. I got kicked out of my house at 16 years old, never got a high school diploma. I've got eight multi-million-dollar companies. I can start them left and right, and I have, and I do, because of what I'm telling you. Mindset, skill set, and habits. Emulate what someone else is doing, and you'll more than likely get what someone else got. I've done it over and over and over. There's millions of examples of this. Rather than sit there and doubt and try and figure out what I said that doesn't necessarily hold true in one particular case, well, not if this happens, not if that happens. Guys, we're not talking about exceptions. We're talking about the rule. We're talking about everyday normal people. Everyday normal people, 9 times out of 10, are not going to make it simply because their mindset, their skill set, or their habits are not in the right place. They don't have the right information. Okay. And that's why I try to give the right information. That's why Dropping Bombs even exists. We're trying to get the knowledge from the people who have it, which are my guests, to the people who need it, which are the listeners. And sometimes there's listeners that have the information. That's why I do masterminds. I don't know if people know this, but I started an elite mastermind called Crash House. I call it Crash House because if you put a group of rhinos together, rhinoceros, that would be called a crash of rhinos. A bunch of badass rhinos together is a crash. So I created the Crash House Elite, which is a mentoring mastermind group that talks about nothing other than mindset, skill set, and habits. It's for the average everyday person or the extremely successful person. Why? Because it's also a mastermind. There's other like-minded individuals that want to help other people succeed. There's other people in the group as well. We have quite a group going. If you guys are interested in going to that group, by the way, go to crashhouse.io/elite. crashhouse.io/elite. Learn more information on that page. But folks, that's a coaching, mentoring, and mastermind group. We study the habits, the mindset, and the skill sets of the ultra successful. We do business with each other. We network. We help one another. There's groups like that all over, folks. If you don't join mine, join one. What are some of the ones I would join if I were you as well? Again, personally, Sean Whalen has one called The Lion's Den. My boy Andy Frisella and Ed Milet have one called Arate. My boy Keaton Hoskins has one called Limitless Society. My dude Rob Bailey has one called Clear, Concise, and Vicious. Maybe Clear, Convinced, and Vicious. Anyway, look up Rob Bailey. You can't miss it. And by the way, folks, if you guys haven't heard Rob Bailey's music, it's mental medicine. If you go to the gym, if you want to be pumped and motivated, go download his music and just crank it up every time you start to get depressed, every time you start to get a little bit, weak, go crank that dude's music in a set of headphones, and I guarantee you within 10 or 15 minutes, dude, you're back at it like a freaking beast. Anyway, there's all kinds of groups out there, folks. These groups are usually led by people. And I say usually because there's some stupid groups out there that they've never really achieved anything. So just do your due diligence and see what they've done. And again, there's some people that come across a little bit angry. Some people come across a little bit too happy. Like there's people that are going to love me because the way I deliver my information. Then there's people that are not going to prefer the way I deliver my information because they want it a little more serious. Or maybe they don't really like themselves, so they need to be yelled at a little bit more. Whatever the case is, find a group, folks, that you resonate with. Find somebody that's already achieved what you're looking to achieve, man. It's not that difficult. 2023 could be your year. You could literally say this podcast episode is the one that changed your entire life. But literally, you have to act on what I'm talking about. I've seen so many people join these groups, get these mentors, pay big money for this consultation. They get the information and then they do nothing with it. And 9 times out of 10, they end up talking shit about the program or the group because they didn't do anything with the information. Folks, if you want to be introduced to the person that can make you a multimillionaire or shredded or the nicest person on the planet with the best relationships, if you want to meet the person that could do that for you, go into the bathroom, shut the door, look around, and pretty soon you're going to see someone in the damn mirror. And I want you to be very nice to that individual because that's the son of a bitch that can change your life. That's the only person that can actually change your life in a second. Most people, they're not very nice to themselves. Why? Because subconsciously, we don't believe we're worth anymore. Subconsciously, we don't value ourselves. And that's the problem. You have to raise your self-worth to raise your net worth. You're never going to outperform your own self-image. You've got to get to a place where you forgive yourself. You're allowed to make mistakes. In fact, failure is a part of success. Most people want to avoid failure so badly that they never succeed. And I'm telling you, folks, the only reason a lot of these people are afraid to take a chance, they're afraid to do something, is because they fear other people's judgment. And the reason they fear other people's judgment is because they don't have their own opinion. In other words, there's people out there that need other people's validation in order to feel good about themselves. If you wake up and do the right thing and do the work, trust me, you won't need someone else's validation to know that you're worth it and to know that you're a good person. And if you're not a good person, then you just need to change into a good person. Well, people don't change, Brad. Yes, they do change. I've changed. I continue to change. Literally, people can change. People do change. And quite frankly, you must change. Because if you want to get something different, you have to do something different. And let me just remind you, if you want to get something different, you have to do something different. In order to do something different, you have to believe something different. Because the reason you do what you do is because you believe what you believe. Think about that. You believe whatever you believe for whatever reason you believe it. Doesn't even have to be true, but your belief system, what you believe, is what causes your actions and your choices and your behaviors, which is coincidentally, what causes your results. So what you have in life, where you are in life, is based on your actions and your choices. And those are based on your belief system. So in order to change your belief system, you have to get new information, which is why I show people how to read. Pick up a damn book and read 10 or 20 pages every single day. Seek new information like it's going out of style. That new information is what will eventually cause you to start to think more and start to change what you believe. And then when you start to change what you believe, you actually start to change how you react. You start to change your choices, your behavior, your decisions, your decision patterns. And then you change your results. It starts with personal responsibility. You have to realize you are the problem. It's not the president. It's not your spouse. It's not the lack of opportunity. It's not the town that you live in. It's not the fact that you were raised without a parent or a mom or a dad. It's not the fact that you were broke. You came from a broke family. You came from an abusive family. All of that is unfortunate, but it's not the reason you are where you are. It might be the reason you believe what you believe, but that doesn't make it true. So you need to change what you believe in order to change what you do. And that is the only way you are going to end up being successful. So you take everything I just said and you wrap it into a New Year's resolution, if that's what you want to call it. And what you're going to do is you're going to do step one. You're going to figure out what it is. You don't care if that takes a week, that takes a month. You're going to take the time and focus and figure out in detail, what the hell do you even want? And again, if you want, dude, think about it right now. Listen to my voice and ask yourself a very serious question. What do you want? And right now you're probably running through some things, but those are general things. Do you know specifically what you want? I doubt it. Most people don't. Most people never will. You don't believe me? Walk up to somebody and say, let me ask you a question. What do you want out of life? They'll go, and they'll look up and they'll start thinking. And yeah, people will start spitting out shit. But that doesn't mean it's specific and it's focused on and it's intentional. It just means that they're, thinking up cool things to have in life. They're floating. They're not intentional. They're not specific. They're not detailed. And more than likely, a lot of you aren't either. And when you start to become that way, it's going to be life-changing. So figure out what the hell you want. Make that a commitment for 2023. Make that a commitment for January. Like if it takes you past January figuring that out, guys, you're thinking too hard. You're thinking too long. Think long, think wrong. Just get the job done. It's not that difficult. What the hell do you want, man? Write that shit down. Focus on it. Pay attention. Get detailed. Be specific. It's not that difficult. Quit making it so difficult. That's what I mean. You're making your life difficult by throwing in all the doubt and you're just trying to get my money. I'm just being ripped off. You're just trying to scam me. Folks, I'm not even charging you for this information. I'm giving it to you. And it's valuable. I could definitely charge for this. I could put a $5,000 seminar on and do this. This is free. Take it. Run with it. Become successful. So you get a bunch of money and then you're more than likely to give me some, aren't you? And I will take money, folks. I like money. Me and money, we're tight. We got a relationship. We like each other. Okay. I'm not afraid to ask for money either. I'm not afraid to sell something. Okay, I always tell people, I can show people, pretty much anybody listening to this show, I can pretty much show you how to make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, no matter what. If you're willing to work, if you're willing to put in the work, and I'm talking about truly willing to put in the work, not put in the work until it becomes uncomfortable, not put in the work until you find out you have to move. You got to put in the work and do what it takes. But I can show anyone how to make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. Guess what? You're going to have to sell something. You're going to have to sell something. Well, I'm not very good in sales, Brad. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And if you're not, you can be. It's a learned skill. And what's crazy is everyone's already in sales. You're already selling somebody on something. The difference between good ones and bad ones is the bad ones don't realize they're doing it. So get intentional, figure it out. You're going to have to sell something, man. And I can show people how to do that. It's not that difficult. All it is transferring enthusiasm. It's transferring certainty. I teach people, if you really want to learn how to sell, stop selling. Start helping. A lot of people don't want to be a salesperson because they think it's going to be pushy and awkward situations and pressuring people because that's their mindset. That's their mentality towards salespeople. That's not true. Shift that mindset to where you're just helping people solve their problems and your product or solution happens to be what solves it. And then you walk in there with a different vibration. You're looking to help people, not sell people. You're not there to make money. You're there to help. You just happen to make money. Anyway, I'm going in a totally different direction, but I can make people money. And by the way, if anybody wants to learn how to go make money with me, you can find me on internet. You can go to my website, Brad Lea, that's Lea, bradlea.com. And there's a lot of ways that you can make money with me. I can hire you at one of my companies. There's a million ways to make money with Brad Lea. If you want to make money in 2023, reach out, stop being afraid, stop being doubtful, but be willing to work. Because if you're not willing to work, I can't technically help you. All I've done is built ladders out of the rat race. I've got 3 or 4 ladders going up and out of the rat race. The question is are you willing to climb? If you're willing to climb, I will show you the ladders. You have to climb. If you're not willing to climb, step aside and let other people climb. And by the time you start to see those people start growing and growing and growing and you realize, holy shit, I want to climb, then come on back and then get a hold of me. Okay? If you're out there struggling, you don't know where to go, join my Crash House Elite. Join the Crash House Elite every week. It's me doing this. I'm bringing in guests, ultra successful people, sharing different things, mindset, skill sets, habits, the mindset, skill set, habits that'll make you a fortune. You know, how do you trade crypto? How do you freaking make money online? How do you make money in the digital age? How do you build a brand? How do you build a personal brand where people are throwing money at you to come and speak and show up and endorse their products and services? How do you do all that, folks? Those are skill sets. How do you close, influence, and persuade people? How do you communicate? Those are skill sets. That's why I say if you don't have the right mindset, you don't have the right skill set, and you don't have the right habits, that's why you are where you are. If you want to fix that, you have to do something different. You have to find someone who's already done it, moi, listen to what the hell they're saying, and then do the work. If you identify what it is you want, you find the person that's already done it and you ask them how, which is figuring out how to get it. You do the work. Folks, you'll get anything you want in life. You'll get anything you want in 2023. Now, if you have too big of goals for it to all happen in 1 year, just give it your best effort. And at the end of 2023, I guarantee you'll be 10 times better off than you are if you didn't try what I'm talking about. Don't call me at the end of 2023 and say, I didn't get anything I want in a year. Like you said, I'm telling you, I can teach you how to get anything you want. Okay. In 2023, it might just be the start of getting what you want. Or again, depending on the size of your dreams, you could literally change your damn life in 2023. I'm telling you right now, guys, everybody's worth it. There's no reason you should not be trying your damnedest to get out of the rat race. Swallow your pride. Quit acting like everything has to be done on your own or it's not worth it. Stop listening to all the bullshit that we've been taught growing up. It is okay to ask for help. If you are lost, if you're driving around a town and you are completely lost, you are not a pussy. If you pull over and ask a local how to get somewhere, it's actually intelligent. It's not weak. Okay, you can ask for directions. You can ask for help. It's the hack of the century, man. If I could go back, I would have got a coach and a consultant and a mentor way before having to do. I did so much nonsense and works that I didn't even have to do. I paid so many dumb taxes that I didn't have to pay. I could have accelerated everything to where, man, I could have started succeeding back when I was 30 as opposed to freaking 50. Pay attention, folks. Life is not that difficult. It's not as hard as everybody thinks it is. It's actually common sense in most cases. You want to make a lot of money? Solve problems for people. Duh. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. Everyone can go out and introduce themselves and build relationships every single day, but they're not doing it. With the advent of social media, we can connect with people all day, every day, and people aren't doing it. I have people that have private Facebook social media accounts. They have private accounts. In other words, none of your business who I am and what I like. Well, then I'd start another account, a public account. I would start building a brand. I would start networking. I would start building relationships, because relationships is where the money comes from. And coincidentally, once you have a lot more money, you get a lot more relationships, and usually better relationships. You get more access. You can afford more coaching, more mentoring. Okay. And then hopefully nothing will happen to you health-wise, because if something happens to you health-wise and you don't have any money, you're screwed again, because unfortunately, folks, good healthcare takes money. Whether it's you or your family member, good healthcare takes money. Quit being selfish. People think freaking, oh, it's okay just to, work for 20 years and end up retired with a small, what do you call it? Retirement or something. No, you should be pissed off. And you should freaking do whatever you can to make money. And don't allow society or your grandma or your family or anybody make you feel guilty for wanting to have a bunch of money. When you're going to the gym every day because you're focused on your health and you're eating right, and people start to say, come on, it's your birthday. Come on, you can take a week off. Just remember, man, you're worth more. You're worth the effort. You're worth the sacrifice. Because, folks, I don't know if you guys realize this, but if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. You're going to sacrifice either way. It's a bitch getting rich, but it's a bitch being broke. So pick one. Which one are you going to pick? 2023 is a brand new year. It can be the first year of the rest of your life or just another year in your life. Boils down to a choice, boils down to a decision. Are you going to make one? Are you willing to do the work? Because, folks, what I just laid out in this solo bomb is worth millions of dollars to you if you implement what I just said. Go through it again and again and again. Go join my elite group, crashhouse.io/elite. Tells you all about it. Join somebody's course. Join somebody's mastermind. Educate yourself. Grow. Invest in yourself. Invest the time. Invest the money to develop, to learn. The reason you're not where you want to be is because you don't have the right information. There are people out there with the right information. I'm doing my best with my software company to bring everybody together. If you guys follow me on social media, I appreciate it. Listen up during the year. I'm going to be putting on events with badasses, live events, virtual events, masterminds, coaching calls. That's how you get ahead. If you ask Warren Buffett, what's the best investment one can make? He will tell you the best investment you can make is the one you make in your self-development. You will never get a higher ROI than you will on the one that you invest in yourself. There's so many people out there that could literally click a button, join my elite group, study 3 or 4 months, and change their life. But they're thinking about I don't know if I've got the time. Folks, you make the time. Well, I don't know if I've got the money. Dude, if you don't have the money, you need it more than anybody. Borrow it. Okay? It's not expensive. But at the end of the day, find somebody, get some help, figure it out, and follow the formula that I just laid down. Let me recap. Number 1, this is how you get anything you want in life, folks. Number 1, you figure out what it is that you want. Number 2, you figure out how to get it. Number 3, you do the fucking work. Number 4, you make adjustments. You pay attention to the information, the feedback, the surroundings, the marketplace, the chit chat, the scuttlebutt. You pay attention. You get intentional. If you get to a point where you don't want to do the work, go back to number 1 and think some more. You just don't really want what you said you want, what you thought you wanted. So it requires more thinking. If you ever get to a point where it's like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. Remember, find someone who's already done it and model their behavior, model their actions. Do the damn work. Folks, 2022 was a great year. Dropping bombs is way up on the charts. I appreciate every one of you guys. I would love it if all of you guys would do me a favor and go leave a review on the Dropping Bombs, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave a review, please. I've got a couple thousand, but I know I have hundreds of thousands of downloads per episode. So I know that there's more of you. Could you do me a favor and just go leave a review? It'd mean the world to me. Otherwise, I might have to get advertisers help pay for all this. The only fee I ask is you go leave a review. Maybe go buy my book, leave that a review, or go leave a review even if you didn't buy the book. Ask someone about it and take their word for it. Folks, more importantly, make 2023 your best year ever. Go get as healthy as you've ever been. Okay? Go build the best relationships you've ever had and go make more money than you've ever made. And make sure no matter what, until next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Bradley. Subscribe now.